Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Park District Board of Directors meeting. It is Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Julie, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Here.
Herzog.
Here.
Redmond.
Here.
Jeske.
Here.
President Zimmerman.
I would ask everyone to please stand if they are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 3, which is approval of the agenda. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second. You can have it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gilbertson. We have a second by Commissioner Herzog. If there's no discussion, I'll ask Julie to please call roll.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Aye.
Herzog.
Yes.
Redmond.
Aye.
Vice President Jeske.
Aye, motion passes. We'll move on to item number 4. We'll start out with the featured partners and program, and we've got Bismarck Hockey Boosters, and we have Michaela Jablonski-Johnner. She'll appear before the board.
Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. Bismarck Parks and Rec asked if I would come and speak tonight. Good? Oh, yeah. Let's back that up a little. All right, Bismarck Parks and Rec asked that I would come and speak tonight a little bit about our program. So I am Michaela Jablonski-Johnner. I am the Executive Director for the Bismarck Hockey Boosters here in Bismarck. We are community-based programming for, obviously, youth and hockey ages 4 through about 15. This year, we have 757 kids actively playing. We have over 60 teams from our termites, which are our 4-year-olds, all the way up through the Bantam 15U age group, which is our oldest group. Just to break down on the numbers, our termites, again, that's the youngest group, is 184 kids. Mites, 174. Squirts, 113. 10U30, Peewees, 116, 12U32, Bantams, 95, and 15U25. Looking at those numbers, I did see some reaction of, wow, that's a lot of kids playing hockey, and it is. We've continued to grow over the years, and actually looking at those numbers and doing some behind the scenes looking at data. We only have about 30 kids graduating that are age eligible to graduate this next year, and we usually have about 100 new skaters each year, so we do think that that number could substantially grow next year and get close to that 800, which is a good thing, but we also need the support from the community to continue to grow our program. And so obviously, you know, we do rely heavily on Bismarck Parks and Rec Department here in Bismarck, the Bismarck Park Board, to continue to support programming such as ours and all of the other community-based programming in our community as well, so that these kids can continue to play. So some of the programming that we do offer is the Intro to Hockey program. We do that in September. That's like the Learn to Skate, where they get equipment and they get out there and try and learn to skate. Some of them know how to skate, and they can move right into, you know, trying to use a stick and get out there and play some actual hockey, and it's fun to watch. We do preseason August and September to get people ready for tryouts, postseason in March. This summer, we are doing a summer academy in June and July. Our regular season runs about October through March. We actually, next year, will be doing our tryouts a little bit earlier. So actually starting a little bit more in September and then running until March. During our season, we have 5 weekends of Capitals Cup tournaments, which obviously would generate revenue for our own club, but a lot of revenue for the community as well. We have teams coming from Minnesota, South Dakota, obviously North Dakota, and a ton of teams from Canada. They love coming to Bismarck. They love coming here and shopping and eating and doing all of the things. So those tournament weekends that we host those teams, you know, like I said, it generates a lot of revenue for the community as well. And then this year in March, we'll actually host 2 of our state tournaments for NDHA as well. So that'll be 2 huge weekends for us, and about 20 teams each weekend. So yeah, I mean, we work a lot with Parks and Rec here in town. Obviously, we work with rink staff a lot, just making sure that everything's ready for our weekends, whether it's a tournament or a non-tournament. There's still lots of games going on. So we rely heavily on the rink staff to make sure things are working, you know, that we have toilet paper refill, that the garbages are emptied, and we really appreciate all of their work on those weekends because sometimes it can get really hectic, but we appreciate that. I work very closely with Dylan, constantly in communication with Dylan, trying to do scheduling and making sure that we're on track. It's one of those things that keeps you up at night, trying to make sure that the schedule is right and nobody's going to show up in the wrong town or nobody's going to miss where they're supposed to be at. So we work closely there as well. And then, obviously working with the rest of Parks and Rec. Some of the things that we have been able to work with them on is we did request a matching grant over the years. Last year, we were awarded a matching grant from them in order to get new mite boards, because we divide the ice up when we have our younger kids out on the ice. We did get new mite boards and new bumpers then for the termites as well. And then they also provide financial support for our mites and squirts programming. So I provide a report to them every year on what that looks like, and then they are able to financially support us as well. And then this last year, we actually just wanted to make a mention that we did hire Lane Sedevy as our new hockey director this last summer. And that has been a great transition for our hockey club, but also just his relationship that he has had with Parks and Rec over the years. That's been very helpful in just keeping that relationship really smooth. So yeah, we want to just thank Parks and Rec, the park board, and our community for continuing to support us. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Commissioner Gilbertson.
Vice President Jeske, thank you. Michaela, how has Rink 3 helped?
Absolutely. Yes, and obviously that's another big thing that Parks and Rec has helped us get is more ice. Obviously, we had Wachter several years ago, and then now VFW3, our First International Bank and Trust rink, and that has helped tremendously. Yes, we've been able to spread out our kids a little bit more. Last year, we were doing a lot of 3-team practices, and at Pee Wee and Bantam age, those kids are bigger, and to put 3 teams out on the ice together is really difficult for them to have enough space to actually move. So yeah, this year they were able to get a lot more single-team practices because of that.
And with that, if I may continue,
Absolutely.
With that, does that, like, the timing of practices? I mean, if you're going, I remember sitting outside when my kid was always the last one out anyways. So, but does that help with, like, timing-wise? Fewer morning practices, are those still things that are in the mix, given then that there's 1-team practices on ice?
Yes, we still have 6 a.m. practices. We still have 9 p.m. practices. Unfortunately, we have to use every ounce of ice to be able to make sure that they do have enough ice touches. Yes, I know Commissioner Gilbertson that you are familiar with our hockey program as well. And a couple years ago, we introduced dry land training to some of our programming to alleviate the fact that we didn't have enough ice. And so they were getting maybe 2 ice touches and then doing a dry land kind of to supplement that. And now, we're to a point that they don't need as much of the dry land because they're getting enough ice touches. So that's what VFW3 helped us with, was to give them enough ice touches, which, we strongly believe that being on the ice is where they should be learning most of the game. But we still have to use the 6 a.m.s and the 9 p.m.s. And one of the high schools this year went from their 6 a.m.s to an after-school practice, which also kind of bumped us a little bit there, too.
Does the club still do dry land, offer that as part of the?
Yes. Yep. We still are continuing with dry land. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
And how's the competitive level been as far as, like, around the state? And, it's always Eastern North Dakota is always the measure,
Yes.
but,
Well, we always are competitive.
Yeah.
And you could look across the board. Our girls program, I'm going to say, they're doing outstanding this year. They are really on fire, which is really fun to see. I'm excited. We're hosting both our 15 UA and 12 UA state tournaments. So I'm excited that I get to watch
awesome.
and root them on. So I think the girls' side is doing outstanding. Our Bantam AA has had some great success this year as well, which is obviously our top level team. And then you can look across the board and you can say that every team has had success,
Good.
right?
Good.
So,
That's
we
awesome.
continue to grow, and like I said, with the hiring of Lane, I really think that we're going to see some strong improvement in our development side.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Redmond.
Thank you, Vice President Jeske. Michaela, thanks for coming.
Yes.
Thanks for your strong partnership. I was looking at your website today, and I love what you have this weekend. You have the Pack That Stands weekend. If you wear your jersey, you get free popcorn. It's
Yes.
love popcorn. That's awesome. Tell me, please, how has the gaming sites, how's all your gaming affected your operation, and how is it enhanced? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously gaming supplements our income. We have a majority of our income come from registrations and various things that we do through sponsorships and fundraising and those types of things, but gaming does supplement the income as well. I would say that gaming has helped us going back to dry land, when we were in a spot of saying we need to have our players doing more, what can we do? Gaming money was able to be used to help with that, along with gaming money being able to go towards VFW3 contribution as well. And so, we're trying to find ways that we can use that money specifically to go back to our kids. We actually just had a meeting recently with the AG's office talking about our different funding sources, including the gaming side of it, and how to use that money to go back to the kids. And so we were able to offer more scholarships this last year as well. So yeah, gaming is great to have. We know that we can't budget because we know that it also can go away very quickly. But it's been able to do tremendous things for our program by having it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Herzog.
Thanks, Chair Jeske. Commissioners, good to see you again, Michaela.
You as well.
I'm curious, you talked about you're maybe graduating 30 and then you're bringing in 100, so you're net 70 maybe just in a year. What are you seeing in like the next 5 years are there some things that you're going to need to do, or are, that's good growth for you guys. What's maybe the plan that you guys are thinking
Yes.
short-term, long-term?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I will say, we have people that are age eligible to return. Now, we know that some will choose to move up. So not all of those 700 will come back, because some kids will either decide not to play. They might just say, nope, I'm done with hockey. They may decide to move up to high school. So there's different reasons that people may not come back and play. But that's kind of, the number that we're starting to look at is, oh gosh, we could be hitting that soon. As I said, First International Bank and Trust rank was a huge help for us, and we definitely saw the benefit of having that this year. This was our first year having it the full season, and we saw that benefit, and that was great. But I do think that we are continuing to have those discussions because we know we will need more ice in the future. Even at 5 rinks, we need more.
Okay. Well, Michaela, thank you so much for coming today, and I know you've talked about it, but we really do appreciate your support of, I work at Bravera, so it's really going to be hard for me to say the First International Bank, the third rank at the BFW. Actually, I do appreciate First International Bank, but just really appreciate your gift. That was kind of a game changer. Executive Director Kevin and I met today to go over the agenda, and we did talk about how fortunate we were that you guys came in with that remarkable gift. So thank you so much for your support, and thank you for coming here today. Good luck with your popcorn event this weekend.
Yes, come and pack the stands. We have big playing games this weekend, so the winners of the games go to the state tournament. So it's a big deal.
Very exciting.
Yes, come and pack the stands. And I want to thank you guys again for your continued support in Bismarck Parks and Rec.
Well, thank you, Michaela.
Thank you.
Our next featured partner and program is Bismarck Figure Skating, and we are very excited to have Kristen Wilhelm with us today, too. Welcome, Kristen.
Hi, guys. I'm Kirsten Wilhelm, born and raised here. Oh, you're fine. Everyone always says it wrong, so it goes in one ear and out the other. So I am president of our Bismarck Figure Skating Board here locally. Figure skating is an interesting sport. I grew up as a hockey family, so definitely different. But I have 2 girls that are absolutely loving it. So with that said, in our Learn to Skate program, so it kind of breaks down to a Learn to Skate Advanced, and then we have a Synchro program. So within our Learn to Skate program, we have 275 members. Different levels. We also do some hockey skating as well. We have 20 skaters of those that are kind of ready to move up to advanced, but we're struggling, with ice time. So we're trying to get really creative with what we do have. Always looking to kind of expand different ideas, maybe like using the ice during the day. So that might be like a preschool Learn to Skate class, mommy and daddy and me class. Just trying to think of different ways to use that ice when maybe it's not being utilized when people are at school. Our advanced program has 109 registered members. So these are going to be the skaters that are actively going out and competing. Through that, we have 132 that are on our synchronized ice skating teams. So 9 different teams that compete at a national level. And so it's pretty rare that we have this program in Bismarck, North Dakota, where these girls are competing against Boston, Chicago. A couple of years ago, they took first in the nation. Regularly stand up and get a medal. Last year was silver. So it's pretty neat to be able to go to these competitions and actually be able to compete. So they're getting ready to go to nationals next week. So definitely a lot of ice time that's getting utilized as much as possible, what we have, but there's so many different parts of the figure skating community of just testing and competitions plus the synchro. So it's a very unique program. But that for the most part is a little bit of an idea of what our program offers for the community. But you can let me know if there's questions.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Kirsten? Commissioner Gilbertson?
I'm just curious, are the members of the synchro, are they all in the advanced, or?
No, not all of them. So there's little synchro teams. They're super cute.
Sure.
And I would say the top, it would be the top 5 teams on up are all in advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to be a part of the synchro team, they need to be skating so many days a week as well.
Oh.
Yep, or sessions, just to keep up with their skills.
Yeah, it's one of the, I have a daughter in dance and a son who played hockey, and I've got friends who have kids in synchro, and I'm like, kudos to them, because it is
It's a whole new world.
Yeah. I never traveled to Missouri or Chicago for any of my kids'
my
stuff,
daughter's
so.
in 5th grade and was in Chicago and Michigan. But that's where they have to go
Yeah.
and compete to actually compete against other teams at that same level, because they're
that's
just
awesome
Yeah,
that they
such
do.
a high level for sure. And so I always find it really interesting as I'm like driving. My son plays hockey, so as I'm driving to a hockey tournament, and I'm like, gosh, okay, I've been in that rink in Fargo, so I touch base, and they have 17 sheets of ice in the city of Fargo and Moorhead. Grand Forks and East Grand Forks have 12, and we have 5 between Bismarck, Mandan. So it's amazing to do what we are able to do, for sure, but the East and West, there's such a difference too. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
Commissioner Redmond?
yeah.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
And congratulations. It's nationally renowned from Bismarck. So proud. And so please feel
Yeah.
the pride of all of us, even though we might not have children in your program. We're like, yep, they're from Bismarck.
Oh, yeah, year after
So
year,
we
too.
claim
Yeah.
you. So congratulations. Do you have scholarship programs for people just wanting to start out? How does that work?
We haven't yet. It's something that we're looking into, but honestly, a lot of our fundraising is done by the skaters in that synchro. So each year we're reaching out to businesses and putting together a $250,000 fundraiser just for the amount of traveling that these kids have to do.
I'm thinking taking kids that far away is not cheap.
No, not at all. And you usually have to fly because it's time of year. The buses aren't, you don't know what the weather's going to be like. So these kids are pretty resilient and pretty pivot and wonderful. But yeah, it's a big project, and really logistically that's handled by parents because we don't have the funds for a big staff or anything like that. So
Now, isn't March your big ice show?
it
coming up?
is.
You should
Yes.
plug that a little
Yes,
bit, please.
March 14th, 15th, 16th. So there's 4 shows that we'll have at VFW 1, and then the rest of the rinks will be full for the Bantam hockey tournament that's coming to town, which is awesome. So, no, great program that they're working on. They're finishing up some testing right now this weekend. Flew in some judges for that, and then they'll be focused on the ice show.
You
Yeah.
will.
Thank you.
Commissioner Herzog?
Chair Jeske, thank you. Just a quick question, kind of the opposite of what Michaela was mentioning. They've got so many girls in hockey now. Are there any boys that are?
We do have one.
Okay.
One. Besides, we do have like the Learn to Skate hockey where they come in on Sundays and get a little bit of extra ice time where it's just focused on their skating skills. But yeah, we have this awesome skater that started a couple of years ago and is just excelling.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, super fun.
That's
Thank you.
fantastic. Kirsten, thank you so much for coming here today. If someone wants to buy tickets for the ice show, where do they purchase the tickets at?
Yeah, so they'll be sold at the door at this time. We may have some online sales, but mostly at the door.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming today
you,
and
too.
telling us about your program.
Yeah.
We will move on to item number 5, which is the disposition of bids. So we'll have John Klein from Apex Engineering Group. He'll come up and he'll talk about the lighting project at Nishu Bowman and the Joanne Hetzel Memorial 4-H building.
All right. Vice President Jeske, Commissioners, thank you very much for allowing me to present to you the bids for lighting replacement at the 4-H Memorial Building and the Bowman buildings. Back, a little history on the project. It was shortly after the first of the year that we were asked by Executive Director Clipfell and his staff to go ahead and issue bids or issue plans to the contractors to prepare a bid for. That was done shortly after the first of the year. And then on the 29th of January, we had our bid opening. At that time, we had 3 contractors that submitted bids. All were found to be in response. And the lowest responsive bidder was Bergstrom Electric for the amount of $52,250, which did meet or did fall under the engineer's estimate that was done back in June or late summer of last year, which I believe was $55,000. So after review with Executive Director Clipfell and his staff, Apex made the recommendation that we award this project to Bergstrom Electric.
And John, just to clarify, this was bid before, correct?
That is correct. It was bid last summer. Then the funding source had a requirement of Buy America, Build America. And then with that, we found a lot of suppliers with that requirement put a premium on their products of anywhere from 25 to 30%. So I believe Executive Director Clipfell went back to the funding source and asked them to remove that requirement. So that was what changed from the first time to the second time, was that funding requirement.
Thank you, John. Commissioners, questions for John? Commissioner Herzog?
Chair Jeske, thanks. John, is that why there's such a kind of wide difference between the 3 bids from 52 to 86 to 116? Or any reason why the other 2 were quite a bit higher? I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm glad it's under 55, but I'm just curious.
Vice President Jeske, Commissioner Herzog. Can't exactly explain why the difference in the prices. Of the 2 higher bids, 1 did raise their bid. So I'm not sure if they actually read through the plans and looked at it. The third one did lower his bid significantly, but they were stacked in the same order they were the last time.
Okay, thank you so much.
John, sometimes with the bidding process too, is it just about how much they have on their plate at the time we want this project to be completed? And can that impact the bid? I know we're speculating on this, but can that affect the bid that they put forward to us?
Yes, absolutely, Vice President Jeske. That if they have a full plate and based on timing of the work that has to be completed, they may go ahead and bid it with overtime hours, where if somebody else does not have a project in play at that time, they'll take it at what they actually anticipate their cost to be.
Okay. Commissioners?
Vice President Jeske, I would move that the board accept the bid from Bergstrom Electric in the amount of $52,250 for the light replacement at the Joanne Hetzel Memorial 4-H building and the Nishu Bowman Archery building.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Gilbertson. We have a second by Commissioner Herzog. Any further discussion at this time?
Just that it's nice to see numbers.
Yeah. John, do we have a projected start and finish date on this?
Vice President Jeske, the start date would be as soon as we can get contracts rolled around to them and then shop drawings reviewed. So that process usually takes about 4 weeks. So end of March for contractor to start their process. And from that time, delivery of the materials anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks out. And I believe we had a completion date, Executive Director, of June 15th and a final completion of June 30th.
Executive Director Clipfell?
Vice President Jeske and Commissioners, what we do is we've got a time frame, and because that building is so busy in the summer, we will be flexible, but we'll try to provide, like at the 4-H building, a week that they can get that project in, and then the same thing with the archery range. We'll try to schedule it around the other events that there, but we don't see any problems with getting it done this summer.
Okay. I'm sure we're fairly busy with wedding receptions and things like that, so. Okay. Thank you, John. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion at this time? Julie, please call roll.
Commissioner Gilbertson?
Aye.
Herzog?
Yes.
Redmond?
Aye.
Vice President Jeske?
Aye. Next, we will invite Thomas Demke to come up to the podium. He's going to talk about the trail project from Meridian Drive to General Sibley Park. And Tom is with Apex Engineering Corporation.
Good evening, Vice President Jeske, Commissioners, and Executive Director Clipville. Thank you for having me. I'm here to give an update on the South Washington Street Trail project. This trail is a mixed-use trail project, and it parallels South Washington Street from the current end at Meridian Drive, and it'll connect to the General Sibley Park. Bids were received and opened by the North Dakota Department of Transportation on February 7th. And the bids came in good. The low bid came in just underneath engineer's estimate. Apex Engineering Group recommends award of this project to Central Specialties Incorporated, which is the low bidder. Just as a little background, this project has got grant funding, and it needs to be run with the Burley County Commission, or it needs Burley County Commission approval. They had their meeting yesterday evening, and they approved it, contingent on the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District Board approval and a companion agreement.
Commissioners, questions?
Vice President Jeske, I would move that the Board of Park Commissioners award the low bid to the Central Specialties Incorporated in the amount of $503,000 and $500,000. You know, I'm having a brain.
Julie always
brain
makes it
fart
right.
now. Julie, you know, right?
I got it.
Got it.
I'll second
In that number.
Stop talking. I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Gilbertson. We have a second by Commissioner Redmond. Any further discussion at
I'm
this
just
time?
excited to say that this trail is going to happen, because how long has all of Bismarck longed for a trail all the way down to General Sibley Park? I'm ecstatic about this, so.
And I will concur with Commissioner Redmond as a runner and a biker. I'm very excited the fact that we can finally connect the dots.
Vice President Jeske,
Yes,
I'm guessing
sorry.
that it's not a straight path, given, like, I mean, it's
There's
got some curve to
there's
it.
some curve to it to
Good.
avoid some of the larger trees
Yeah.
and get across some of the roads and
Yeah.
avoid some utilities.
Awesome. It'll be good to see that completed.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Commissioner Herzog.
Thanks, Chair Jeske. I just want to give a shout out to Dave Mayer. He was at County Commission last night, and they had some questions about it, and he did a really good job answering those questions. And Commissioner Munson also was helpful in talking about the process and how that all worked. So Dave did a good job. He's not here. He's probably out happy hour somewhere, but good job, Dave.
Yeah. I'll ask one last question. Start date, completion date?
Vice President Jeske, the start date will be when contracts are signed. There's some stipulations with the tree removals that are part of the project. They need to be, the larger trees need to be cut down by April 14th. That'll happen first, and then after that, the rest of the project will be constructed. But the substantial completion is sometime late fall, I think October sometime.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a little senior moment here. Do we, need to vote on that, please?
Okay. Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Vice President Jeske.
Aye.
Thank
All
you.
right, we will move on, and we'll invite Mike Wald, our Facilities and Program Director, to come up and review the bids regarding the Cottonwood Fence Replacement Project. Hello, Mike.
Vice President Jeske, Commissioners, staff opened bids on February 12th for Cottonwood Sports Complex Fields 2 and 3 fence replacement. After review of the bids, staff recommends awarding the field fence replacements to American Security Gate Company for the amount of $68,650. The bid is within the budget amount budgeted for this project.
Commissioners, questions for Mike? Mike, is this replacing the existing fencing, or is this new fencing?
It's replacing, Vice President Jeske and Commissioners, it's replacing.
I'll answer to anything.
It's replacing the current fence that's there.
Okay. If there's no other questions, let's call for a motion, please.
I move that we award the replacement of fences at Cottonwood Sports Complex number 2 and 3 to the American Security and Gate Company for $68,650. $68,650. Julie's got that.
That was a
Okay.
better way to say
So we've
it.
got a motion by Commissioner Redmond, and we have a second by Commissioner Herzog. Any additional discussion at this time? Julie, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Vice President Jeske.
Aye. We'll move on to item number 6, which is the consideration of the matching grants, round 1. Commissioner Redmond will review the matching grant recommendations for round 1, please.
Sure, thank you, Vice President Jeske. Vice President Jeske and I met on February 11th with Facilities and Programs Director Mike Wald and Executive Director Kevin Clipville, and we heard wonderful recommendations and applications from a great deal of excitement from our community partners. And it was just a great reminder of wonderful things happening in the community, and also just the strong partnerships that we have. And it was great to see the excitement that our partners have, and their excitement about the matching grant program. And if people aren't familiar with that, if they're listening or watching, the matching grant program, the purpose, and I'm just going to read it right from the statement and the application, is to encourage associations, organization, clubs, or individuals to sponsor a project in Bismarck Parks and Recreation District, facility, or park for the advancement of recreation or opportunities in Bismarck. So it's quite simply an application where folks come to us and we match their dollars in their application. And it's much more simple if I just tell you what some of the programs or projects are and what their dollars are. So, for example, first application was Sleepy Hollow Theater and Arts Park, who want to put an AED in the park. And so their assistance requested is $1,500. Bismarck Youth Baseball would like to add 4 bullpens to Shields Complex for a total of $8,165.70. And again, the Park District would match that dollar. Missouri River Baseball Club, which is a baseball club for youth 9 to 12 years old, would like to add some portable fencing packages at 4 fields at Clem Kelly Athletic Complex for $4,599.90. Bismarck Youth Fast Pitch Softball Association would like to add a tournament and announcement board at their Dakota Community Bank and Trust Youth Fast Pitch Softball Complex for $1,700. Bismarck Rotary Club would like to make some maintenance and improvements to the Bismarck Rotary Arboretum by adding some additional surfacing and plant some more trees in the Arboretum for $2,500. Nishu Bowman Archery Complex would like to upgrade some things in the range, add some maintenance to their targets for $19,102.50. Bare Knuckle Baseball, which is commonly called Bismarck Larks, would like to add some seating, not actually seating in the park, but places where people can be seated around the park. They would like to have some more picnic tables there for $2,250. Bismarck Band and Lacrosse Association would just like to have some more lacrosse goals, and they want to have some equipment. So when some people are kids are starting to take the lacrosse, they can have some equipment. They won't have to purchase it themselves for $767.50. And then the last application of the 9 was Dakota United Soccer Club would like to add 4 new soccer goals at Cottonwood Soccer Complex for $3,170. And those soccer goals are used by other soccer associations and including the Park District as well. So those 9 applications, the total assistance requested was $43,755.60. And again, we being the Park District, set aside for 2025, $125,000 for the entire year. So this was round 1, and round 2 takes place later in June. So again, these were 9 organizations requesting a little over $43,000. Again, the Park District matches that. So some great projects, I think, and exciting things that they want to do for their organizations, which again benefits the Park District as well. So if anyone has any questions, commissioners, Vice President Jeske can help me as well, or Executive Director Klitfeld, he was there as well. But if you have any questions about the applications, I have the applications here. We can dig deeper if you have any questions about any of these specific projects. I'd be happy to answer those.
I will say I was part of the process with Commissioner Redmond, and there wasn't a project that you just kind of went, yeah, maybe not. They were all so strong, and the passion that these people have for the programs, and most of them are volunteers. Some get paid very little for what they do, but all of this benefits the park districts and the programs and partners that we have. So it's a wonderful program. I will need a motion.
I was going to say, I make a motion to approve the recommendations of the committee for the matching grant applications, round number 1, totaling $43,755.60. Got it in one shot, said the numbers in one shot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Show off.
I
Yeah.
will second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Herzog. We have a second by Commissioner Redmond. Any additional discussion at this time?
Chair Jeske,
Yes.
if I could, and Kevin, Executive Director Klipfel and I did talk about this a little bit, and you had mentioned, the folks that are filling out these applications, a lot of times are volunteers, are working for a board, and I had some questions about maybe making the application a little bit, maybe bringing it back a little bit earlier, so those boards have time to kind of go over that application process, since we don't have it up on our site until usually sometimes a month before they're due. And then maybe adding some questions that Mandan has in their matching grant application that's a little more aspirational, I would say, which would help me, I think, as I'm just hearing about their projects and what they're hoping to accomplish. And so if the board's okay with that, and I could work with Executive Director Klipfel and stuff, maybe bring back some suggestions for the board to look at, I think would be kind of cool.
President
Commissioner
Jeske,
Gilbertson.
can we have Director Wald come up and just address some of that? I mean, just to see is the person in charge, just what goes into that and how that application process goes.
Sure. Vice President Jeske, Commissioners. So back I believe it was last November, we brought the application, November, December-ish, brought the application for 2025 to the board for approval. So we review it prior, see if there's any changes that need to be made outside of the dates, that sort of thing. We bring it to the board for approval. I actually received phone calls prior to that from user groups excited about their project, looking for when the application's ready, that sort of thing. I then will either visit with them in person on their project, or actually I've even gone to their site and walked through the project. Actually, Operations Director Dave Mayer and I have met on site with some, and we review the project with them. And, there's been times where we've had to say, oh, we might need to slow down a little bit and rethink this a little bit and figure out how it's going to affect the facility or so forth before we move forward, filling out the application. So again, I either visit with them in person or go to their site. Some I visited with on the phone, and then I send them the application for the matching grant, and make sure that when the conversation is, make sure that the application and what they're applying for fits into what we're wanting to do, whether it's in the facility or with the program. And so that's how the application works. And then I review it with the information that I get back in, and actually in the application, there's a checklist that I make sure that, yes, I've reviewed it with the applicant, got the paperwork, and there is that financial match from them, that it's all on the application.
Okay.
Director Wald, so everyone is vetted through you, basically, correct? Prior to filling out the application, or you do a little bit of a vetting process?
Go
ahead.
Vice President Jeske and Commissioners, yes. So every applicant, that application that I get in, I've visited with them about their project prior.
Okay. And then when we were going through the matching grant applications, I thought you had mentioned that you help a lot of them with the coming up with the quotes for the projects, correct?
Vice President Jeske and Commissioners, yes, I actually work with them because just filling out the application, I don't know where they've got the amount that they're applying for their project. So I always ask, or I try to ask for information supporting their dollar value that they have for the total project.
Okay. And I will say, I know the Mandan Park District, Kelly came and presented at the Bismarck Optimist Club. They do 10,000 a year, and we do 125,000, correct? I believe that's what they have.
I think 10,000 app per.
Unless I misheard her, I'm pretty sure she said 10,000 is what they grant out. Okay.
Yeah, Vice President Jeske, Commissioners, I'm not quite sure what Mandan supplies or supports their matching grant program with.
Okay. Executive Director Clipville, thank you, Mike. So where do we go from here?
Vice President Jeske and Commissioners, if it so pleases the board, we could put this on the agenda for our management meetings, have a discussion there. We've got time because, I'll back up, the application was approved for 2025, so we've got, the first round is well on its way. The second round applications are due June 2nd. We could work on that. But from May until the time we try to get the application ready, October, November, we could talk about our management meetings, and then if there's some changes or alterations to the application or the process, we could definitely discuss those and have those implemented and ready to go by 2026.
Executive Director Clipville, are there any barriers that would prevent us? I know we don't really have our money till January 1, so is there any barrier that would prevent us maybe putting it out on the website earlier?
Vice President Jeske and Commissioners, no, I think that's a perfectly good idea. Once our budget is approved, I think we know those dollars are available. We're not going to look at the applications until February, so if something would happen between, say we got the application out November 1st and ready to go, and we have our first round due February 1st, we're going to know by then if there's any change in our funding sources.
Okay. And I know I'm part of a nonprofit board, and I write a lot of grants. We don't have to do a letter of intent a lot of times for local grants. I look at Thomas and Francis Leach. There's no aspirations. You really just kind of talk about the mission, what you're trying to accomplish, the dollars you're asking for, the purpose, things like that. But something to consider. Okay, thank you. Oh, Commissioner
Yeah, well, I was
Gilbertson.
going to say, I think management meetings would be a good,
Kind of hash it out.
a good place to start. But that's why they come to the board every year to be approved. So,
Okay. Thank you very much,
thank you, Mike.
I would need there's a motion. We have a second.
To whatever she said.
I got to start
Or
writing this
she
down.
said. Whoever.
Okay, so Julie, would you call roll?
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Vice President Jeske.
Aye. We'll move on to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. So a variety of items are placed on the consent agenda. The consent agenda can be approved in one motion, or an item or items can be removed for additional discussion or separate action. Staff recommends approving the following items, and this is a litany that we've got here. So consideration of the January 16th, 2025 board meeting minutes. The minutes were included for our review and consideration. Consideration of the safety policy statement. A memo and proposed safety policy statement was included in your review and approval, and we also discussed this at the management meetings. Request to call for bids and submit Garrison Diversion Conservancy District grant for playground replacement at General Sibley Park. And Operations Dave Mayer has included a memo outlining the request to call for bids and submit a grant application for this playground project. Request board authorization to dispose of the following. There's obsolete records, and Finance Director Kathy Feist has provided a memo outlining this request. We have various equipment through the city auction. A memo was provided in your packet for your consideration, so we've all had a chance to look at those items. Request board authorization to select consultant and call for bids for the General Sibley electrical project, and Operations Dave Meyer also provided a memo on that. And consideration of the consultant agreements enclosed in our packet are the consultant agreements for the following projects. There's Ubel Design Group. This is a painting interior of the VFW Sports Center. Ubel Design Group replaced roof at World War Memorial Building. The AGL Elks Aquatic Center safety surface replacement. the Apex Engineering Group, the Tom O'Leary Cart Path Phase 1, and the Apex Engineering Group BSC Aquatic and Wellness Center video boards. Commissioner, what are your wishes?
I would move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
We got a motion by Commissioner Gilbertson. We have a second by Commissioner Redmond. Any discussion at this time? No discussion. Julie, please call roll.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Vice President Jeske.
Aye. We'll move on to item number 8, which is the approval of the bills.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gilbertson. We have a second by Commissioner Herzog. No discussion. I would ask Julie to call roll.
Commissioner Gilbertson,
Aye.
Herzog,
Yes.
Redmond,
Aye.
Vice President Jeske.
Aye, motion is approved. Our strategic planning session is this Monday coming up, February 24th, 2025, at the Hillside Aquatic Complex Community Room. Members of the public are welcome to attend if they like. And our next regular board meeting is scheduled for March 20th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. here in the fabulous Tom Baker Room. Meeting adjourned.